In this video, I'm going to break down how you can actually change your identity so that you can be the person who's ready to scale significantly. I'm Luke Anning. I help entrepreneurs stop self-sabotaging and make 100K a month. We now have 7 clients at 100K a month.
And how far away are you from the 500K a month mark now?
Halfway.
So I just want to confirm that this week I'd like hit my target of what I wanted to be, like £1 million turnover a year. And that's like,
I was over 120 grand a month, which was a beat also for us.
Yeah, 54.
54, cracking.
Yeah, your business is like doing like 250, 300K a month-ish. And so if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Just had one of our clients who recently just scaled to an executive team past 100K a month. And before this happened, she was really just struggling to execute. And where we were seeing this was an issue with identity. And this was according to self-discrepancy theory. Now, for you guys who don't know what self-discrepancy theory is, essentially, it is the difference between who you are and who you want to be. It's your current reality versus who you think you should be, who you expect yourself to be, who you feel like you should be showing up, where you feel like the business should be, and where you actually are. Now, the easiest way for you to identify this is if you're frustrated and you feel like you should be further along, you're not following through, or even if you've just had some recency bias where, you've had a few solid months, but some small events happened recently. Maybe you had some client conversations. Maybe you had some sales calls with a team or yourself and they didn't go how you wanted them to go. Or maybe you had some team members mess up recently and then you start catastrophizing, you start spiraling, and you just go into this whole negative feedback loop. Now in this video, I'm going to show you why this is an exercise you can actually move past, some real case examples and some common examples of this so that you can actually avoid this yourself. So to draw this out in more plain detail, this is the difference between where you are now and where you want to be. And this is self-discrepancy theory. So SDT. And what we need to have in between where you are now and where you expect yourself to be, where you think you should be, where you feel like the business should be, is we need to have a bridgeable gap between this. And so one of the challenges is if you don't have this bridgeable gap, so imagine you're literally walking across the bridge and there's some planks missing or lots of planks missing, then you're going to have a spiral of emotions. And this may be shame, this may be anxiety, fear, anger, etc. These are all these survival emotions, which would make sense if you're trying to walk across a bridge to save your life and get to your destination. You can't get there. Now, if you have the skills to move past this, and you actually understand how to create the growth here that you need, the skills, then we actually move out of these issues, which can be an inclusive with ego as well, where you don't even allow yourself to get help from other people. You don't trust others. We actually move into a space of courage. And this is what we see with more successful students. And then from there, we have peace, we have joy, we have fulfillment, we have abundance, we just have stress essentially eliminated. Now, how I identified this is what we do is we track every single week task completion rate. We've made it more competitive recently by putting it up as a task leaderboard within our self-sabotage community. But what we found was one of our top performing students who'd hit 7 figures in turnover, but hadn't cracked the 100K a month mark yet. She'd done 83K, but not 100K, and was having a real issue with getting tasks done. And by real issue, I mean, we would factually write out all the tasks that she had to do each week in order to work on her business and scale her business, and they just weren't getting done. And I had to have a really tough conversation and be like, hey, what's going on? And how we were seeing this play out was she was on an up and down emotional roller coaster. She was having to chase her team for things not getting done. There was inconsistent execution. Some weeks we would have 50K weeks, and then other weeks we would have like a 5K week. And quite frankly, it wasn't just a lack of systems. It was not just the business systems to delegate tasks, but it was also her internal systems as well. So this is an exercise that you can do whilst you're here with us, but this is what we ended up doing. So we dove into the root cause of why she wasn't showing up as the best version of herself. And we called it the 7 whys. So first, you're going to identify your problem right now. In her case, it was getting things done and staying in integrity with what she said she would do. We asked why, and she said, because I'm hiding myself behind busyness. It's like, interesting. And why was that? Because I lack self-belief. And why was that? And we went on, and we kept asking why. And this, what happened is we got to a very delicate moment of an abuse situation that had happened during childhood. And we see this a lot with successful people. There's these traumatic events that happen in your life, and they create coping mechanisms. For high performers, oftentimes that's smashing work and performing and being the best version of themselves. But that's so that they can feel worthy of love, to feel seen, to feel heard. And it's not that this healing is going to stop you from working, but what it will do is it will stop you from doing the small, busy, menial task work that you should have delegated months or years ago. And it will help you actually install real systems, structure, clarity without self-sabotaging yourself. And so at high levels of 100K a month pluses, we don't see self-sabotage in the form of not taking action and procrastination. But what we do see is self-sabotage in the form of doing the wrong things at the wrong time. And so stalling the business, getting caught up in shiny object syndrome, getting caught up in busy work or taking over tasks from team members rather than building better systems. And it shows up as a lack of self-belief. It shows up as a lack of self-confidence, a lack of self-trust, some burnout. And if this resonates and you genuinely want to fix it, I highly recommend booking a call in the schedule down below. We run a very tight ship with our one-to-one, and genuinely it's the best thing that you could be doing right now. One-to-one looks like bi-weekly one-to-one calls plus 2 mastermind clinics a week. You also get access to our neuroproductivity program that's consistently being updated. We literally just did last week how to stop self-sabotaging with money, a whole entire module of 10 to 15 minute trainings, sometimes 2-minute trainings. It will actually help you install better practices with money, stop panicking around things, creating awareness, and scaling your business and scaling yourself. And so this isn't a throw you in and forget you type of course. It's performance accountability. It's holding you to your highest standard and best version of yourself. And we don't take on everyone. We only take on people with a high likelihood of success within this. And somebody that is aiming at 100K months. And just because you've done numbers before doesn't mean that you also get to dictate this process too. We need people who are open to coaching, open to solutions, and ready to take action. Because if you resonate with this stuff and you don't take action, you're in the same bucket as the fence sitters who never grow, and you've probably wanted to work with or have tripped on your site and not done anything. And what we've seen successful people do is take action when they see the problem. So if that's you, we'll see you there. Now, some common ways that we see the identity gap showing up is sometimes maybe you're dressed sharp, your health's in check, you're executing, your time and energy's managed, everything feels free and flowing. And then something goes wrong in business, a couple of things happen, and the next day you're panicked, you're late to meetings, you're frustrated, your team isn't executing, and you just want to feel consistently like you're on it, but you keep falling off. And I used to have this. Every single Monday I was on fire, and then Tuesday I'd fall off, or Monday, Tuesday I'd be firing, and then Wednesday I'd fall off, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I'd be firing, and then Thursday I'd still fall off. And the reason was because of self-discrepancy theory. It was not being who I consistently needed to be. And I wasn't installing consistent practices or doing the inner work to clear the patterns. I'd do mindset once and I'd go into all these business programs and do mindset once and be like, okay, I'm good now. But it doesn't work that way. You've got to consistently build personal systems that help you re-identify as you level up. I'm sure you've heard the new level, new devil. And if you want to level up, then you've got to keep doing new pieces of work, new practices, different practices at different times, relevant to whatever emotion is surfacing or whatever pattern is surfacing. Now, I'm not saying you need to go to therapy or talk therapy. That has its place for sure. But where we've seen the real growth has come from people who do future-focused work, people who identify their goals and anticipate self-sabotaging patterns. And in Neuro Elite, the one-to-one program that we work with, is we covered cognitive distortions, both personal and business. We literally have a whole list of personal issues and business issues. And in week 1, we literally give people a template where they can work through and identify potential roadblocks based off of all of our work from the last 5 years of what other patterns we've seen scaling people to 300K plus a month. And so we're able to identify these patterns ahead of time so that we can install practices ahead of time so that we can quantum leap in the business and install the habits that are going to support that as well. Now, you might be saying, Luke, I already know this. I already know what to do. But one of the biggest self-sabotaging things that we see is thinking you know what to do, but then not doing it. And it's the embodiment that actually matters. It's kind of like driving a car and learning to drive a car. You think you know what to do, but when you first try it, you may be like, you're stalling, you're messing up. But also, even after you pass the test, you keep learning. The same with identity, and it's the same with accountability. With long-term clients, we consistently see patterns every single week, and then we can help them expand. And so the longer that we work with people, the more growth that we will actually have. Like, we have another student who's doing 300K a month right now, and he was showing up late to meetings, one-to-one meetings with me. And where we saw this was rooted in a self-worth issue. And maybe you've had this at times as well. He believed he had to work super hard in order to feel valuable and in order to be seen. And where we identified that, we went down the 7 layers, the same as we did with our other student. And that came from some unprocessed grief from another traumatic event that he had when he was a kid. And so now we're doubling down on processing that and installing that. And I'm pumped because he's going to come out a completely different version of himself, not only just over this week, but for the rest of the month and foreseeably for the future as well. And that's the thing, is like, we don't just want to come in and give you some business strategy and be like, okay, cool, there you go, do that business strategy for your business. And then, you're sorted. We know that your business is important to you, but we also know that your life's important to you as well. And so the self-sabotaging techniques and getting out of your own way techniques that we give you, they're there so that you can carry that on for the rest of your life. Teach that to your kids, teach that to the people around you, teach that to your team. And in fact, we largely encourage it. We have clients that have teams of up to 80 people, and they're able to install the same practices that they learn with us into them as well. And so in order to do that though, that student, he had to take a leap and say, look, I need help. I resonate with some of your stuff, Luke, and I want to go and get help. So if you are overwhelmed and you're not consistently being your best self and you have high ambitions, you have high goals, then I would encourage you to book a call down below. Worst case scenario, we say no, or we give you some other trainings. We have an abundance of trainings that we can give you to get you ready to be the person that maybe aligns with what we do, or even not. Like, maybe you just check out this and you win and then you go from there. But on the best case scenario, we can help you accelerate your growth and we can seriously explode your business. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're not already subscribed and you want to see more of this, then be sure to subscribe, like, comment your biggest takeaway. I'm sure you would love to do that. Or I'm sure I would love to see you do that. But with that said, we appreciate you and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.